What's up everybody, Speed Demon 8706 here, and today I'm going to show you how to fix the sound in your Game Boy. So if you watched my last video, I explained that this is a Game Boy that I bought offline and that the sound didn't work. So there's a few things that we can do to identify if the sound doesn't work. So just for starters, I got some AA batteries inside and I got a game inside. So I'll go ahead and turn it on and see if there's any sound. Oh, and the volume is all the way up. No, I didn't hear anything. Alright, so we'll go ahead and step into the game and see if there's any sound coming out, because the game has music in it. This is a Mickey Mouse game. It's actually pretty fun. Alright, so here we are at the first stage. I know you probably won't be able to see it that well, but there is no sound and it's turned all the way up. Alright, so let's go ahead and get this taken care of. So we know that this doesn't have any sound to it, but I do have a speaker hooked to an auxiliary cord. So before we start pulling this apart, let's see if the headphone jack at least works. Alright, got it plugged in. And we have sound. So we know the headphone jack works. Let's see how it sounds. Alright, let's check out the volume and see if there's anything wrong with the volume. Sounds just fine. Okay, so we know our headphone jack works, so that eliminates any problems with the capacitors for that fact. So let's go ahead and take this apart and let's see what we can figure out.
Alright, let's go ahead and get started. The first thing you're going to need is your Game Boy, a toolkit, an X-Acto knife, possibly a new speaker, and your soldering iron. So, first let's go ahead and get your toolkit out and let's look for a tri-headed screwdriver or a tri-headed bit. You're going to need these to pull out the tri-wing screws located in the back. This is what it looks like. Go ahead and remove your game batteries if you have them, and set those off to the side. Alright, you're looking for 6 screws. They're found in these locations. Go ahead and remove the screws and set those off to the side. We won't be needing those right now. Alright, now what we want to do is look at this headphone jack. There's a little piece of metal in there that connects to the headphone jack that allows flow to go from the motherboard to the speaker, and sometimes it gets some debris in there and prevents the flow from continuing. So the best way to clean it is to use an X-Acto knife. I like to use a headphone jack to push that metal flap up and use my X-Acto knife to get in there to get all that debris out of there. Go ahead and work it out of there, and when you're done, take some canned air or simply just blow in there and get all of that gunk out. Alright, good to go. So now, let's go ahead and test it out before we go any further. So take the back of your Game Boy and place it back on. You don't have to screw it down, we're just going to test it. Place some AA batteries in and fire it up. And nothing. That's okay. We still have another option we can use. So go ahead and remove the Game Boy like previously described. Now we're going to take these Phillips screws out. So grab a Phillips screwdriver and remove those screws. Alright, now you want to focus on the speaker itself. So if you can see right here, the wire has come undone from the speaker. So that should be an easy fix. So what we want to do is go ahead and remove the Game Boy from the rest of the shell. There's these tabs right here connecting the ribbon cable. You can use a spudger, which is a little plastic bevel tool to help pull it out, and it'll prevent from damaging the Game Boy. You can use that, or you can use your fingernails. I like to use my fingernails and pull out the ribbon cable, just like that. So go ahead and lift it up, set the rest of the Game Boy off to the side. Alright, grab some fresh solder and your soldering iron. Now for me, I found that there wasn't very much solder found on the speaker, so I added some solder to make sure that it doesn't pop off anymore, and I'm sure that's what happened in the first place. So once that's done, go ahead and solder the wire down onto the speaker. When you're done with it, go ahead and check your work. Looks good, looks firm, looks sturdy. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and take the Game Boy and place it back inside the shell. First start by connecting the ribbon cable, and then place the speaker back in, and it's kind of hard, so you might want to be careful with the wires just so they don't pop off anymore. And then return the back of the shell back onto the Game Boy, throw in some AA's, and fire it up. And we have sound. Now let's just make sure. It sounds great. It turns down, it turns up, doesn't sound like there's any static. Alright, so let's say this didn't work. Let's say you still have no sound. That's okay. Go ahead and place your Game Boy back down and remove it in the same manner as before. This time, what we're going to do, we're still going to disassemble it, and we're going to replace it with a new speaker. This speaker I have here is from a Game Boy Advance SP. We're just going to have to make some modifications to the front of the shell. But first, let's go ahead and remove that old speaker. You do this by soldering the contacts until the solder warms up and pulling off the wires. Alright, set the old speaker off to the side, and let's make our modification. So as you can see, the tab sticks out farther than the plastic will allow it to. So you need to take your X-Acto knife and notch out a space big enough for it to sit down flush. And now that we've done that, our speaker will sit down just fine. Perfect. Now it's time to take the speaker and solder the wires onto it. There's two places on the speaker and two wires. It doesn't matter which one you solder them to. Alright, check your work, looks good. And now let's set this inside the Game Boy. Once again, be careful with the ribbon cable and make sure the tabs are closed, and make sure that the speaker sits flush and everything is seated properly. Go ahead and replace the Phillips screws and place the back of the Game Boy on to give it a test run. And it works. Okay, so now that we know that we're done, go ahead and place all the screws back inside the Game Boy and screw them down firmly. Throw some AA's in just to make sure it all works when it's completed. Throw on a game and fire it up. And it still works. It sounds great, and our Game Boy's fully assembled. This has been 3 ways to fix the sound of your Game Boy Color.
Alright, that's today's episode. I hope that I was able to help you identify what's wrong with the sound on your Game Boy Color and help you to be able to fix it. I'm Speed Demon 8706. Have a great day.